And new information, one family in the Shoals tells us they do not have faith in the parole board after a man convicted of murdering their loved one will soon come up for parole in about 6 months.
Danny Sledge's family tells us their fight for justice isn't over. Today, a judge upheld a life without parole sentence for Nathan Boyd, one of Sledge's killers who was 17 at the time. He was resentenced after a 2012 Supreme Court ruling stated it's unconstitutional to sentence a juvenile to life without parole.
But Boyd's brother, Eric, who was also convicted in Sledge's murder, was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole, and the family fears he could get out. WAAY 31's Brecken Terry shows us why Sledge's family is concerned the Alabama Parole Board will let him loose.
Danny Sledge's family tells me they're terrified by the new policies and procedures put in place at the parole board. Sledge's family and many others have reached out to me saying they have no confidence in this parole board after they paroled a lifelong criminal who now stands accused of murdering 3 people in Gunnersville.
Yeah, I'm scared to death, especially after that man just murdered 3 people in Gunnersville. Yes, I'm scared they're going to let Eric out.
Danny Sledge's sister, Marianne Rippey, tells us she knows they have a fight ahead of them when they ask the parole board to keep one of her brother's killers, Eric Boyd, in prison.
They don't take into account the crime and the victims anymore.
Lawmakers passed the Prison Reform Act in 2015, which says on the parole board's website that these laws were designed to reduce the prison population. The parole board started using an analytical tool to evaluate a parolee's chance of reoffending. Rippey, who fought against parts of that legislation, tells us things have completely changed.
How it was 5 years ago is totally different. We fought really hard to keep some rights.
Senator Cam Ward told us the Prison Reform Act does not govern who the parole board lets out. Jimmy Spencer, a man with a violent history, was paroled in January 2018. Arrested and never went back to prison for parole violations and now stands accused of murdering 3 people. Rippey tells us the Spencer case and the current laws make her doubt the ability of the parole board.
We've lost all voice at the parole board. Used to, we'd go down there on a regular basis because we had a voice, and we don't go as often with other families now because they don't let us speak.
Eric Boyd was sentenced to life with parole. He's served 19 years of his sentence and has a parole consideration date of April 1st, 2019. For Sledge's daughter, she says she will fight for the rest of her life to keep him in prison.
We'll have to deal with this brother for the rest of his life and our life, but we're willing to do that. We're not going anywhere. We're going to fight for justice for Daddy for however long it takes.
Even though the family will have to fight to keep Eric Boyd in prison, the family tells me they're satisfied that Nathan Boyd is not eligible for parole. In Florence, Brecken Terry, WAAY 31 News.